think I'm on.
You
Am
are.
I in? Okay, thank you.
Well, palms up. How's it going out there to my wonderful Facebook family and abroad? This is your host, Dr. Rhonda L. Hamilton. And this Tuesday, we are so delighted to have members from our Labor Day protest showing up to the platform. We're going to do some highlights with you. We're going to talk about the road ahead, and we're just going to get to know the beautiful people that have stood beside the Healthy DCME Leadership Coalition to help spearhead such a wonderful, momentous occasion, such a necessary occasion. I've also invited members of the Healthy DCME Leadership Coalition to join in because we've got some work to do. Yesterday was wonderful, palms up, but in matters of government, in matters of public government, it takes the voices of the people to move the paradigm forward. So, guys, without any further ado, I am going to introduce to you our wonderful folks behind the movement. But first and foremost, I want to give you an opportunity to share the feed, share the link, let folks know that Palms Up is on. I apologize we didn't get the notification out, but it's been so much going on, and I didn't know if this voice of mine was going to show up or not tonight. So thank God that I'm here. And most importantly, will you please all join me in sharing a wonderful prayer and a party palms up to our overseer, Dr. Coles, who is on in good spirit and faith this evening, but she's under the weather. So if you guys will summons all the prayer gods to send all that wonderful warm healing her way, we would very much appreciate it. She was out there like a soldier, like the soldier that she is. Hey guys, it's your girl, and palms up just like that. We're here for another wonderful week, and tonight we're speaking to some souls. So let's start it off with some hearty hellos. Hey, palms up, Miss B, and welcome to the Palms Up platform.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Oh, it was Mama Dr. Karen. Welcome to the platform.
Palms up, palms up. Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Palms up, Juanita Briscoe, Lady Soldier, brought all those youth out there yesterday. That's right. Palms up.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all.
Oh, good to see you as well. Palms up, Patricia Bishop. How's it going? Welcome to the Palms Up platform.
Thank you. Glad to be here at the Palms Up.
All right. Palms up, Mr. Thomas Carpenter. We're going to talk a little bit to Mr. Carpenter a little later. Mr. Carpenter serves on the Healthy DCME Leadership Coalition, and he is also the treasurer for the Rhonda Hamilton for DC campaign. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything tonight. Palms up, brother.
Hey, how's everyone doing? Glad to be here.
Fresh off vacation. We're going to find out about that vacation if we don't run out of time. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're safe and rested. Palms up, Overseer Coles. Wishing you the best, Queen. Thanks for tuning in this evening. We're going to hold the fort down for you.
All right, y'all, let's roll, baby.
Palms up, Queen Karen Settles. Welcome to the Palms Up show.
Well, thank you very much. Happy to be here. Happy.
It's awesome to have you. That's right. I got to greet you guys individually. I'm so proud of you all. I want them to know what team looks like when what it looks like when community comes together. Palms
Here
up,
comes
Miss
another
Janice.
dream team.
Thank you so much. Palms up, Miss Janice. Welcome to the Palms Up show.
Palms up to all of you. God bless. Thank you.
Awesome. And palms up, Lady Soldier Michelle. Welcome to the Palms Up show. I guess Michelle's audio is still connecting, and it looks like we got Miss Ernestine Brock. Palms up and welcome to the platform, Queen. Guys, it's your girl, and I want you to know all evening we're going to have visitors and guests from the Labor Day citizens protest that took place in the nation's capital down on Freedom Plaza. If you don't know, boy, let me tell you, you missed a good one. We do this Palms Up show to make sure that the matters of community, make it before you. Oftentimes, issues that are plaguing our community, whether good or bad, don't always make it to the forefront into the mainstream media. And so it becomes our responsibility to make sure that matters of community make it to the forefront. Now, yesterday, not only did we protest for the civil and human rights violations of our governing and elected officials here in the nation's capital, we also marched down to the national stadium. And so we're going to talk about that. I'm so proud of my seniors who got up and boarded the bus and showed up with their motivations and spirit. And guys, I want you to know, here on the Palms Up Show and on the Healthy DCME Leadership platform, we're constantly preaching to you not only about mental health, but about mental wellness. And a part of having strong mental wellness practices is being able to understand how we can prevent the onset of crises that happens oftentimes when we're stuck in situations of despair, when we feel that we're not acknowledged, whether or not it's a housing circumstance or whether or not we're just frustrated because of the economic situation. Guys, it is important that you know you matter out there, Palms Up. And as mental health advocates, we've been stomping for almost a decade now, making certain that our citizens of the nation's capital understand the importance of speaking out. So Palms Up was created to help bring those issues to the platform. We had a civil and human rights protest yesterday, and many of you, I got messages that said, well, what kind of justice? What's going on? What's wrong? And a lot of times, if it's not affecting you, if it's not something that's impacted your living, then sometimes you are out of the loop. And we understand that. So we won't hold you accountable for this event, but we're certainly going to keep educating you because we have a divide in the city that needs to be addressed. What are civil rights, you say? Civil rights are personal rights that are guaranteed and protected by the U.S. Constitution and federal laws that were enacted by Congress, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the American Disabilities Act of 1990. I want you to know that citizens living with rodent feces, living with mold, living with ceilings falling in on them, living with the insurgence of crime, understanding that you are in despair and depressed, living in housing that is not stable, having management practices that would retaliate against you for speaking out. And you would think as a senior that you'd have some sort of understanding to a more fair, just way of being managed in your living properties. Guys, I want you to know that when you're not happy in your housing, when you're constantly going through something that makes you feel anxious, a lot of anxiety, toxic stress, I want you to know that leads to other health ailments. And I'm saying, just look around your community. There are folks that have health challenges that a lot of times they're not able to address just because their housing isn't stable. And what about my folks that are living in the streets that can't keep housing for economic reasons or for medical reasons? Guys, there are many folks in the nation's capital that are struggling right now. And if you look at the core of a lot of the issues that we're facing, it goes back to housing. So for the better part of 4 years, the last 4 years, Healthy DCME Leadership Coalition, along with our advocates and supporters, have been petitioning the legislative leaders to say, hey, it's not okay for families to live as they are. It's not okay for slumlords and property-rich owners to show up, taking the monies out of the property, but violating something called the DC Tenant Bill of Rights, also known as the DC Tenants Act. Guys, I'm holding up the document, but if you're interested in understanding anything in detail that I'm speaking on this evening, please go to www.healthydcandme.org and you can click on the Woodbury Project page. I want you guys to get educated about the importance of speaking out. And I want you to know and see the brave faces of these community members that have come forward because they know the importance of speaking up when rights are being violated. Anytime you feel like you're being treated different just because of how you look, who you are or what they tell you your religious practices or otherwise are. It's unconstitutional for them to violate your rights. And so oftentimes we look at the news and we think everything's okay, but I have some voices here tonight to let you know why it was important for them to show up and speak up. All right, that's my 2 cents. Palms up, share the feed, and let's jump into it. Hey, Miss B, why don't you help us understand what yesterday meant for you and how, in your opinion, did we get to yesterday? Why was yesterday necessary in your opinion?
Yesterday was important because, first of all, I got a chance to meet on the bus all the other soldiers, and we got to talk and to know each other and see each other face to face, and that's the start of building a relationship. And then just being there and listening to everybody else and being there and being able to speak. And everybody, I mean, people made some presentations that impressed me, something awful. And then the walk. And you know, this was my first time ever participating in a rally. And I did walk those 5 miles. And we got to talk to people, and people were looking, and the fact that we stopped traffic all along the way with that police escort, and people couldn't move, and then to end it down there with him laying on the ground. I demand to see the mayor before I move. And that was the whole thing coming together. But it was an awesome experience, and I'm ready for the next step to let them know that it's just beginning.
That's right. That's right. Palms up to you, Queen. Talk to me a little bit. You stay in a senior community over in Ward 7, correct?
Yes.
What kinds of things had your community been experiencing that allowed you to believe that it was necessary to come forward?
The mice infestation, the fact that the management that E&G puts in here is unprofessional, unqualified, and the turnover is so great. They're not communicating with us. Services are not getting completed on time, and people are being discarded because of their age and health conditions and their lack of knowledge. And like I said, those people are in it for a paycheck rather than doing a good job while they're at work.
Yeah, I recall you talked about the security being lapsed and your entrance doors being broken.
Yeah,
And the reality, the reality of people, strangers inhabiting your building and just not feeling safe in your home.
Yes.
Is that,
yeah. And then, like the lady said, we have to address our tenants. And I have been doing that as the president, because we have tenants who are still using and allowing their friends to use their place to, and but you know, so we have to be brave enough to report it anonymously or tell the people face to face, we ain't having this. And hey, if we don't have a friendship, that's fine, but you need to respect each other. You know, so
That's
what
right.
you do in your apartment is your business, but when you bring it in the hall, you make it out. You're putting more of us in danger. And we've had I've seen drug deals go down with seniors. We've people who get in here sleep in our candy room, sleep in our laundromat. They defecated in our hallways, you know, and things like that. And seniors 80 and 90 years old, or just seniors, period. Because most of them have ailments by the time they get in their 60s and 70s. Shouldn't be happening. They pay their rent on time every month. the people who live here because they want to stay. They got someplace and they're trying to hold on to it. And
Yeah.
we need our services on time. And we need respect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You deserve respect, and respect you shall have, because we're not going to stay quiet. Thank you so much for detailing that. Mama Dr. Karen, welcome to the Palms Up Show. Will you come forward and talk to us about yesterday and what it meant for you to participate, and anything else you'd like to share surrounding?
Yesterday was a powerful statement by some people that I have for whom I have great admiration, who have come through serious fire, who have lived with love in a community that loves them back. Not that it's been so easy, but I think it's important for anyone who does not know this community to know the warmth and strength of the people here. I am here at the behest of Miss B, who is being a loving neighbor to me. And we all come together with Queen Mama Karen Settles, and through the Love More movement. And so while we're talking about the importance, the absolute necessity to uphold human and civil rights in this city, you know, we talk about human and civil rights in so many places that, and don't talk about it in Washington, D.C. But here we are in the midst of a need for political and social significance, in the midst of really standing for something that is right. But it is not only social and political. We are also talking about love. It is the love that holds us in strength. It is the love that lights up this community. It is a beautiful thing to be visiting here. But of course, it is love that that glows throughout our Black communities. This business of how young people too often, or others, are experiencing trauma that causes pain. That's not our deepest reality. Our deepest reality is the love we have for each other. And I am delighted and grateful to be embraced in that love.
Well, thank you so very much. You make such a valid point. Love, it is important that we recognize the presence of love. And I think that that's so important as we go forward to help heal the divide in our community. And you made so many profound remarks, but the most important that I picked up on is the fact of that we're here in the nation's capital where the laws are made, and the reality that we wouldn't be talking about something as important as the violation and the upkeeping of our human and civil rights, which is impacting so many across our city. And thank you so very much for those wonderful words of wisdom. And I look forward to hearing back from you within the hour as we continue to talk and greet everyone. Welcome again, and palms up to you, Queen, and the whole Love More movement.
Bless you. Thank you so much for being here.
Palms up. Hey, Miss Karen Settles, will you unmute for me and tell me what yesterday meant for you and what your observation is of how we got there, and anything else you want to share, Queen? Welcome, and palms up to you.
Yes, I'll start like I did yesterday. Love wins, no matter what. I don't care, no matter what. The truth is, for me, is when I talked about, I demand this war to stop on the poor. I mean that no more than 1,000%. When I say to you that the obvious is that poor people are big business. Let's be clear, developers would not be successful without our numbers. Everything about what they are downfalling us for is about when we rise up with these numbers, and they will come. When those numbers start coming up in different places, because they will see we will not have it no more. It's over. The party is over. And I'm not just saying it, I'm just not saying it just to be saying it. I see it. See, you have to have a vision for this. And my vision is, as I told you a little earlier, the next run, we're going to have our strollers out there with our children who we're fighting for as well. You see, us as seniors, until we leave this earth, have a responsibility to cover those young. And I know that for a fact. But we got to cover them with some guidance. Yeah, I know. And then regardless of popular belief, all that mayhem that we seeing in the street, it comes from angry. First, let me say what the popular belief is. They have mental health issues. Now, let me break it down. The fact is that trauma is a stage of mental health. The fact is that wounded people are a part of mental health. The fact is disabled people, because having any mental health disability is a disability, but it's really our golden ability, and we're going to show them how. Everybody that showed their face yesterday, I am so, so, so proud. And it's never going to be me, not with me. It's a we thing that we fought. This all matters. It matters that we had to be down there in the first place. It matters that we were there. It matters that we're going to be there again, in your face, and again, and again. And because, excuse me, and because what I said before I shut down, I'm going to say this again. Because I am a proud Washingtonian, and because I'm a Washingtonian and I live in the nation's capital, I'm very aware of what happens here and what doesn't happen here. But I will not be overlooked, and I speak for the city, because divide and conquer looks just like this. I was born in a DC that didn't have a ward. I could go from one side of the city to the other. I got in plenty of trouble from getting on the Lafayette Square bus and riding uptown, all the way uptown, because this is my city. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
They lost their juice, and I'm not going to. And my mother caught me up in Lafayette Square too. And I'm telling you, I have no regrets, because I got in plenty of trouble, but I have no regrets at the fact that I was allowed to travel, when I wasn't supposed to, but to go that distance, and I actually was safe. Can we say that about our children? So I think the public enemy number one is the war on the poor. Now let's see about this. We're going to win anyway.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much for your comments, Queen. Thank you. You remind us of the history, the very rich history of this nation's capital that we all can share a testimony from. And so I thank you. I'm going to come back around and pick you up. I thank you for the reminder of the fact that our seniors, as long as we are here, have responsibility to help our youth. That is so profound and so true. I heard a statement yesterday from a young man who said, hey, we keep talking about we want change, but are we willing to change? Yeah. And that is the understanding that many of our youth need to understand, that we're willing to be vulnerable enough to help reach them so that we can help save their lives. Thank you, Queen. Juanita, palms up to you. Will you unmute? What did yesterday mean to you? How did we get here? And what else would you like to share? Welcome.
Oh, mine's lit.
There you are. While Miss Briscoe gets her sound together, I just want to again thank you for tuning into the Palms Up Show. Please share the feed Tonight, we're going to be talking to several of our attendees and residents from the city, the citizens of DC, who stood up on Labor Day at Freedom Plaza to protest the violation of the civil and human rights. Palms up. And I want to hear from each and every one of them. So Juanita Briscoe, are you okay? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Can you hear me?
I can. Tell us what yesterday meant to you and why were you there and why are we here and anything else you'd like to share. Palms up to you, Queen.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm here right now with one of the seniors at Capitol Gateway, Ernestine Brock. I was here with her this evening to conduct some insurance business. However, I'm here sitting here with her, and we was just discussing the exciting moments at Freedom Plaza. Um, the goal is to get the services done that the seniors are asking for. I know for a fact that there are plenty of seniors, including my mother, who lives in the city, who have been struggling to get maintenance services in her own home. And without veil, nothing has been done as of yet. I brought the young people with us, and I'm so glad that they showed up because they were able to understand the importance of the protest, and they also was able to understand that our seniors and our communities and our lives are important and just as important as other minority groups. So it was really emotional. It was emotional because you think about the marches in the 60s and you think about the struggles that our ancestors went through to get us to a place of victory. And it seems like we're back here again, fighting for the same rights that we were fighting or that they were fighting for during those times. And when I was a child, I didn't understand that until I was able to read some information in the books in school. Um, I never participated in a protest because the protesters that goes on today doesn't seem to resonate with my spirit and my soul. But this here is a demonstration of how and why we as people need to come together. So many people are so silent or afraid to speak up because of retaliation. So many people are afraid to speak up because the status quo, oh, they're going to kill me if I speak up. And my sentiment to this is if I don't have a voice, then back to slavery I will go. And that is something that I will not be doing. And I don't want that for my children. I don't want that for my grandchildren. And I don't want that for the generation that's coming, behind us, or that's coming on. And they need us to fight. And I don't know what other way I can express that to the community. We need to fight. We need to get up and we need to protest and we need to fight because something is happening in Washington, D.C. that I've been looking at for a while and saying, wow, oh, wow, that they just built this building. Oh, wow. Wait a minute. What's going on? It's like things are being slid into the city without our acknowledgement unless we see it happening. And I'm talking about everything, economics. We are failing in the economic department. And I'm talking about as far as salaries. We are being placed in the position of going back to being in poverty or staying in poverty or being under impoverished. Everything that's going on in this city now if you open your eyes and take the scales off, you can see. And we need to help this city, our people in the city that are falling and don't know what to do. The crime rate, you know, our children killing one another. That is really sad. You know, our children are killing one another because they have no way out. They are experiencing trauma just like some of the individuals who fought to get us here. We are experiencing a, a, a sense of some trauma when we see things happening in our community and we just don't know what to do. You know, and I point out Benning Road, Minnesota Avenue, continuously having the drug market, the 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 destruction of the community, the dirt, the Safeway, the parking lot. It looks so nasty. I don't understand. Right across the street is a Shell station. You can't hardly go get gas in your own community or food in your own community without stepping over someone or without smelling urine. That shouldn't happen in our community. Same thing on Good Hope Road, Alabama Avenue. You know, it's just too much and I can't take it anymore. So it's time for me to stand up for the community that I live in. I grew up in Ward 8, South Capitol Street. The same thing going on. Right there that's happening on our community. So why are all of this destruction being pushed in our community? Why? And then on top of the destruction, they building new buildings, they building new um structure. But guess what? You never see none of our people participating in those jobs. Why? It's a problem for me. At this point, it's a problem for me. And, you know, I'm not calling out no particular agency, but what I am doing is calling out to the people that I voted for. The people that I voted for in Ward 7, and the people that my family voted for in Ward 8 to stop doing the things to allow the destruction to continue in our communities. Stop stealing the money from the individuals who are the most vulnerable individuals in Washington, D.C. Put the community back in stride. Put it back in stride. Where we were at, and I'm going to end with this, we were right there by the National Ballpark on the bridge. That was a perfect spot. And I looked at that and I said, wow, right across the bridge, the resources are very limited. And over here is so much of the resources being flourished in that community and stripped from the Ward 8 community. Why? So I'm calling out the individuals that we voted for to do a better job. To do a better job, or you need to be voted out.
Hey, that's a word. That's a word.
It.
Palms up, Queen. You're speaking the sentiments of so many people. Guys, it's your girl. It's your girl. Shed His Feed. This is where we come to talk about issues before our community. And today we are talking with the wonderful participants, attendees, and supporters of the human and civil rights protest that the DC citizens stood up and had on Labor Day. And let's keep this going. We have voices of wisdom, mothers and young people. It was just so beautiful. Community members, Miss Michelle Tingling Clemens, welcome, Queen Lady Soldier. Welcome to the Palms Up platform. Palms Up, will you unmute and say a few words to us, please? Let's see if we can help her unmute. There you go. You see a pop up on your screen? Guys, as Michelle finds her mute button, I want you to know that we've got a wonderful show in store. We're going to hear from all these beautiful souls. Mr. Chris Williams just showed up to the platform. Deanna's in the house. I want you to know, palms up, that we are a bunch of warriors, and not on our watch and not in our nation's capital will they continue to violate the rights of our citizens. We are here at the forefront. Michelle, palms up, Queen. Oh, we can't hear you. Palms up. Guys, sometimes trying to get this Zoom working can be a challenge. We appreciate your patience out there. Michelle, you may have to find your volume button. While you do so, I'm going to call on the next one so we can keep it going, and I'm going to double back. You keep working on getting that communication together. We must hear from you, Lady Soldier. Hello, Miss Barbara Cooper. Palms up to you, and welcome back to the Palms Up platform, my leader over there in Marbury Plaza. How's it going, Barbara? Unmute for us and let us know what yesterday meant to you. Give us your highlights and whatever else you'd like us to understand. Can you hear us? Oh, there you are. Palms up.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you well.
Oh my God. It was amazing. You know, I think the older people, they give me strength. They give me hope. They give me power. See, because without them, I ain't nothing. See, from the older people, they teaches me. And Miss B, oh my God, I was so proud of her. I mean, it was amazing how far this lady walked. And I was like, Miss B, I know you probably getting tired of me saying you okay, you okay, you okay. And she said, baby, I got it. You know, she got her some cold water and we just kept a stepping. But I noticed it's a lot of hurt. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of anger. It's a lot of frustration, especially when the young lady got up there and she tried to talk and she just broke down. That crushed me to my heart. It's because she wanted to speak up, but her words just wouldn't come out. And you could see the pain all in her. And she was there for her I think she got 3 little girls.
Three beautiful girls, honor roll girls.
Yeah, so, you know, that was really amazing. And I think her name is Briscoe, I believe.
No, she's on tonight. You're going to hear from her, and I know she is smiling right now.
The lady just spoke.
Oh, Miss Briscoe, yes, Juanita. Right.
I got to meet good people, you know, her mother and her, and it was just wonderful, wonderful. And same thing for me. I got very overwhelmed when Mr. Reds laid out in the middle of the street in the highway, head down, and I was like, is he serious? And he was really serious. I said, oh Lord, we all going to jail today. You know, but I think for me, it just make me want to fight more. I'm not I never been a person that was afraid to speak my mind. And I thank God for that. I thank my grandmother for that. I always spoke up and spoke out. And I guess that's because of my upbringing. Dealing with white people throwing bricks through our windows when I was living in the country and trying to set our house on fire and stuff like that. I don't hate white people. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate them, but I don't trust them either. So I just got to be honest about me. But I want to do it again. I want the same crew and more because I think her name is Miss Yolanda, I think. I don't know. From Nash Place, I think.
Miss Yvonne, yeah, she's going to speak next.
Yvonne, even her. I met, you know, I really got to meet people face to face, and I'm trying to remember them faces because them are the people or the faces that make me want to just keep fighting. Now, although I was a little disappointed, I got to be honest, you know, I had a thing for 19 people, but didn't nobody show up but one person. But I look at it like this. Whoever God wanted to be there was there.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, bottom line. I just want to do it again, and I want to do it bigger and better.
That's right. Palms up to you, Queen. Your words are so meaningful, especially with all that you guys do and continue to go through to fight for your rights over at Marbury Plaza. If there's not a DC citizen living, I would imagine, that doesn't know the ongoing fight you guys have had over at Marbury Plaza for safe and habitable housing. And so I applaud you because it's not easy. As you said, you guys have almost 500 at least residents over there, and you expect that people would show up and fight for themselves. But history has taught us, Ms. Cooper, is that there's always a few of us that go to the forefront to hold the line until our people show up. And what I think most people are really having a hard time realizing is that the history we read about yesterday in the 60s and the 40s and the 30s, we're living that now. And if we're not careful, we're going to be what they write about. And the reality of us not advancing as a people is very, very alarming. So thank you so much, Queen, for your beautiful words and for your continued support. And I love that you want to do it again, because if I have it my way, we're going to set this city on fire for the next 3 years. Actually, what is this, 2024, the next 2 years, because there's the election coming up in 26, and we're going to talk about that. So palms up to you, and keep those marching shoes on. I'm so proud of you and Miss B and all of us. I have a picture that I put in one of the reels with you and Miss B holding hands, because I looked up as tired as I was, and I could not miss that picture. You guys look like two kids going off to school for the first day, and you're holding hands like we're going to hold each other up. We're going to get through this. And to know that that was Miss B's first protest, that just meant everything. So I applaud you, sisters, for taking the helm. I keep saying our big mamas of yesterday have passed the baton, and we are the big mamas. So I thank you, and palms up to you, Queen. Hey, Miss Yvonne, palms up to you over there in Nash Place Ward 7 representing. Invited a girl to come over and spend some time with your community, and they were motivated and pumped up, and I saw y'all show up. Talk to us about what yesterday meant for you and any message that you'd like to share, Queen. Come forward. Palms up, Yvonne. You there? Trying to unmute can be something. Let me see if I can help you. Let's see. You see a prompt on your screen to unmute? Palms up.
Okay.
There she is.
Palms up.
Palms up. Hey, Miss Yvonne.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. I just want to say it was so fulfilling for me. And I came home last night and I looked at all of the news channels. And we were only represented on one, and that was Channel 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that made me angry because every channel I looked at, the breaking news was taking care of dogs. Adopting dogs. So are we less than dogs and cats?
Jesus.
So I said, you know what? We did this, and it has to be an ongoing thing.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do this every 5 months. We need to bring this to the forefront on a regular basis. If it means just 3 of us standing out there with a sign, stand in front of Merle Bowser's house with the sign. Go to Robert White's house with the sign. Because I know where he was just at the cookout eating spare ribs.
Thumbs up.
And then I heard the news media person say, well, we reached out to Muriel Bowser, and she said she was going to look into the seniors' issues. I said, I guess she was after she finished eating her potato salad and her hot dogs and hamburgers. It made me angry because I'm so proud of all the participants and all the people who came. They showed that we are loved. Don't think you're not loved because it was too many people. Based upon the last one we had, Rhonda, which wasn't on this topic, You look at the people that were there.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to the bridge, and I'm like the young lady who said, when the man laid in the ground, I said, oh, Lord, I'm going to jail with a walker. They're going to take my walker. I'm going to walk around the jail cell. Okay. But I was responsible for the seniors on the bus, and everybody had to go to the restroom, and I'm running around trying to find a restroom by the bridge. And I did get to the restroom, but it was touching. But the fight has to continue on a continuous basis. We can't let this slide, because we did get some attention. And a lot of those cars, before you all got there, they blew their horns. Because
Awesome.
we got their attention. And you all hadn't gotten there yet. We were just standing on the sidewalk, you know? And I'm saying, we getting some attention. And even the police officers, they weren't mean or anything. They were so compassionate. Right. And I mean, before you all got there, people wanted to cross the street. And you know, they wouldn't even let them cross the street because we were there. I said,
yeah.
I mean, we're power here. You see what I'm saying? So it takes just a little. So don't think it was done and nothing was seen and nothing cannot be done about this.
Amen.
But it was one more thing I had to say about. I'm gonna say one more thing, Rhonda.
Okay.
I don't know how many of you all have gotten this letter from Muriel Bowser, but I got mine today. I guess she's trying to butter us paying off your medical bill. And I got a letter. She paid off a medical bill for me for $2.17. Oh, I want y'all not talk about Muriel Bowser because she paid my $2.17 bill.
Palms up to you, Queen. We on tour. I don't know in the last how many years since she been in there 3 terms, how many times has she picked up the tab for your medical bills? Right before your Labor Day protest. They be trying. See, they keep trying with them old tactics, and we gotta bring something new to let them know that we are not having it. So God bless you, Queen, and palms up to you. And Michelle, have you got that volume fixed? Say something. Let's see if we can hear you, Michelle. You might be just a viewer tonight. You keep working on that volume. I think it's something with your phone. We can't hear you, but we can see you, and you're beautiful. All right, Miss Janice, let's keep this conversation going. Welcome to the Palms Up Show. And what was memorable for you about yesterday, and what would you like to share? Welcome, Queen. Palms up to you.
Palms up to you as well, my dear. I was so proud and pleased to be there on yesterday, to be a part of an organization that not only talked the talk, but we walk the walk. There have been many organizations that have come by and wanted us to be involved as seniors, tenant association presidents, but your organization, Am I My Mother's Keeper, you stepped up to the plate and helped us to put our voices to the matter. And I'm so appreciative. I concur with all of the sisters and the brothers that were out there yesterday, giving their time, giving up their Labor Day cookouts to be a part of that. And what I gleaned from that for me was to come back to the tenant association. First of all, I want to give a shout out to the 2 brothers that were with me yesterday that supported Mr. Reggie Payne and Mr. And I want to take back to the tenants here at Capitol Gateway. I am motivated and I am inspired, and I want to educate and promote them more. And that it's not enough for us to just sit and complain to our various leaders and community leaders that come to our building, to our tenant association meeting, and share our complaints with them. But when it's time to step up to that, to put boots on the ground, show up, not show out, but show up, being knowledgeable, being informed and educated, and expressing ourselves in the way that they can understand. So palms up, hats off to everyone who was there, and especially you, my queen, Dr. Rhonda Hamilton. Thank you, my sisters, B. Evans, Karen Settles, just everybody, and especially the sister that spoke regarding Capital Gateway, and also to my beautiful queen, Miss Ernestine Brock. Thank you all, Capital Gateway tenants.
Thank you, Janice. You do a wonderful job over there in leadership, and thank you for showing up and representing your community. We are so honored to have your voices come to the forefront, and you are absolutely right. You made a point that we didn't have any incident. Usually they're used to reporting that we can't gather without incident, and that is not the case. So thank you so much. Miss Janika, will you unmute and help us understand that what was special for you about yesterday? Why did you feel the need to be there? And any other message you'd like for us to share? Welcome to the Palms Up platform, Queen. Palms up to you. Are you able to unmute? Janika?
I just
There she
unmuted.
is. Okay.
It was encouraging to me more, because everybody that spoke, you know, I was probably one of the youngest people there, and it just broke my heart to see all the seniors, you know, that have to go through what they go through, and it shouldn't have to be that way, because like they should be in the time to live out the rest of their life without, you know, going through stuff like that. It's kind of hurtful for that part. But seeing everybody speak yesterday, it kind of encouraged me to want to speak more and come out and say more. Yeah, it was a really powerful thing for me to watch everybody speak. It really
Awesome.
was.
And I want you to know how proud I am of you specifically, because it took a lot of work and a lot of patience for you to even show up. And I'm so proud of you. Sometimes all that's needed is to show up. And I've been telling you about this love that's out here. I've been telling you about this foundation we have out here that will stand with us in the gap and help to fight back against a system that is not accountable to you all in these programming understandings and otherwise. So God bless you, and thank you for trusting the process and trusting your own strength. Thank you for raising on a roll. I'm going to keep on leaning on you until you get out there and hold that mic and hold it heavy, because you are hard, because you are representing many young women in the community that are also raising their children and trying to do it against insurmountable odds. So you don't give up. I want you to stay empowered. Okay?
Yeah.
Palms up to you, and thank you, Queen. Joanne, will you unmute? Welcome to the Palms Up Show. Palms up to you, Queen. What did you see going on yesterday? What is your testimony and anything else you'd like to share?
Oh, sis, I'm here. First of all, good evening to you all, Queens. I'm here on a support level, so to speak. I have a dear friend who's going through a housing situation here in this city, which literally breaks my heart, especially as a born and raised Washingtonian, a taxpayer, one who has worked all my life since the Mayor Berrien summer youth program.
Palms up
to see, yes, indeed, to see what our city has become, it breaks my heart. And yes, y'all, I'm sorry I couldn't be with you all on yesterday. I'm dealing with this form of attack on my body, but I rebuke it in the name of Jesus.
That's right.
But I was with you all in spirit. Trust me, I was, because this is a fight, you all, unfortunately, that we have to take. I was just out there with our brothers the other day with the DC circulator bus situation. And it's like you work all your life, and it's like putting money into a soda machine. You put your money in, but you get nothing back. And it's like, what in the world is going on? But you all hold on. because I'm a firm believer that there is a God, okay? He is going to shake some things up before everything is smoothed out. He knows how to make them crooked places straight.
Yes.
And I'm going to keep on believing. I'm going to keep on praying. And I pray to God that I get to see and meet some of you real soon. I believe my dear friend is on here. Laura Askew. She's going through this situation, you all. And I'm telling you, it's not a situation that I wish upon anyone. But we're going to fight. We're going to fight for all of those that came before us and the ones that are coming behind us. We're going to fight, and I'm going to fight till ain't nothing left in me, y'all. Hold on, okay?
That's right. Thank you for
all
supporting,
the
and we
love
are.
I can from my heart.
Thank you, Joanne. We
Yes,
send a
well.
hearty palms up to you, and we are familiar with our Queen Laura Askew, and thank you for being on to represent. Ernestine Brock, will you unmute and help us understand what yesterday meant to you and any other message you'd like to share?
Oh, thank you so much. Oh my God, I've just really enjoyed so far what I've heard. I too wasn't able to make it out, but I was with you all in spirit and in prayer. I just thank God for this young lady that just spoke, because she brought the warrior into it. I tell you, and that's where he's the one gonna fight y'all battle. Thank God for my goddaughter, Juanita Briscoe. I want to thank God for Miss B. I want to thank God for Miss Brooks. Miss Janice Brooks. Those are warriors that fought with me when I went through from 2022 to 2023 with our landlords over here in Capital Gateway. And I mean, I was attacked with something from them that I have not a clue why it was happening, what was happening, or anything. Not going to give the whole story now because it'll take a book for me to finish telling you all. But I went to the master. I immediately turned to God and I said, I don't know what to do. I don't even know who to talk to. I don't know who would listen to what I'm going through. I just know I'm innocent. I did nothing wrong. And they have increased my rent from $411 to $143 and some cents. $1,463. And I had 1 month to pay it. So God directed me, say, hold your peace. I'll fight your battle. And I want you to know that I've listened to him. I listened to his voice. He first directed me to Miss Brooks. And through Miss Brooks, I met Miss B. And God etched me into the meetings with them. And then I got in there and I began to hear the cries of God's people, the seniors and the things they were going through. And I began to realize I was going through these things, but my situation wasn't even bad as theirs. I couldn't believe when one lady told me that she was going to her kitchen and a rat or mouse or something jumped off her counter. That thing brought tears to my eyes. So what I asked God, I said, well, Lord, I don't believe what I'm going through is about me, but I believe it's about you and your work for these people. Show me what I can do. And he put me into this group with them. Now, I've tried to make all the meetings and I let him show me how to speak with them. I let him teach me how to let them know to stay calm as possible and let our organizations that God had allowed us to get with the WIN programs and the lawyers and the different ones to listen to them, follow the instructions, but do not stay upset. Don't get so feisty because they're up in age. Most of them are sickly. I say, God want me to tell you that to stay calm. Satan is trying to kill y'all all because the enemy don't want y'all to win this battle. So if you stay calm and you listen and you let him, he'll fight your battles. And while I was encouraging them and they were encouraging me, and Miss Brooks and them was getting me to the right people to help me out with my battle, God was showing me how to help these seniors. And I got in with them. I'm still with them. Every time she called me and say, we're going to do this or do that, I'm going to be with them. I wasn't with y'all that I had gum surgery. I do recuperate. My gums are still sore, but I can talk now. I guess you can see that. But I thank God for
Yes,
while
ma'am.
you all were out there yesterday, Miss Rhonda, I heard you talking too. I mean, you were standing up for the people, and I loved it. And I want to say, while you all were out there, I was sending up prayer timbers. I was asking God for protection for you all, to send out my war angels, let them encamp all about you so that no one would interfere with what you was doing. I mean, I was going to the throne. You hear me?
But
Because
thank you, Queen.
somebody got to pray and somebody got to trust and believe. And that's why I love the young lady that just talked. When she said the name of Jesus, I was laid back. When she said the name of Jesus, I sit straight up. Because if you want to win a battle, then trust him with everything you're doing. I agree with it. I'm fighting for you with it. And I do know the stories of a lot of the people that live up here on 58th Street. I love them so much. I've met most of them. They are so darling and dear. I don't care how people think they want to treat them. I know they belong to God. And everybody,
Yeah.
young, old, and middle age, deserve to be treated fair and right. I'm going to stop right there because I can go on and on. I just want to
Thank you,
let
Ms.
you all
Brock.
know that I appreciate you. Thank you so much for this time.
Thank you, and we appreciate you for holding down the fort, and you're absolutely right. We have to be covered on all accords, and that's why it's important we come back as a community and build this foundation so that it's strong enough for our youth and our other folks that need us to be able to feel protected. Palms up to you, Queen. Thank you so much. You were there in spirit, and it helped pull us through. Hey, Ms. Dolores Walker, will you unmute? Welcome to the Palms Up Show. And we would love to hear from you. What did yesterday mean to you? What would you like to share?
Let me
Palms
say
up, Ms. Walker.
good evening to everyone, to all you queens that's here on this call this evening. I was unable to attend the event, but I was there in spirit. My niece is in the hospital and she just had surgery and wasn't really looking too good, but she's doing better now due to God's grace and mercy and prayers. This is a very touchy subject for me because I know what I stem from in my community. We just had a mass shooting, y'all, over here just not too long ago. Police is going each and every way up down Mississippi Avenue. So I want to share that with you all. And I just want to say this from me listening to, this acknowledgments and the stories that you wonderful ladies have spoken on. I can commend you all because you told a piece, each one of you told a piece of my story as to what I wanted to say. And through God, all things are possible. And again, I can't stress this enough. This is a very, very touchy subject for me because I know where I come from. So I can kind of understand as to what's happening today. But as long as we stay on this path, we stay connected, we keep the line of communication open, we can prevail. Trust and believe that. And I want to say, I thank God for each and every one of you queens on this line and those that are not here. So I'm going to leave my story very short. And I thank you so much for the invite.
Oh, thank you very much for showing up. Hey guys, it's your girl, and we are talking with some attendees and some supporters and some folks who were holding down the fort at home and making sure that we know that we were uplifted in our efforts on yesterday. Not only did we talk about the injustices in our housing program and in our communities, we also talked about the worker injustice. We also talked about the concerns for the low standards in our healthcare outcomes. We also heard from the Unity Healthcare representatives about the ongoing crisis that they're dealing with. I understand that they're gearing up to possibly strike, and we're going to hear from a representative, Ms. Kate Sugarman, who's going to help us to understand a little bit better. We had Kate on the show previously, and that show went up to over 3,100 views. So palms up to the Palms Up audience and thanking you all for helping to get this word out. That's why we created the platform I want you to understand something out there. There's a stigma surrounding mental health, and that's why the Palms Up Show was created, in order that we can help you guys understand and navigate the many layers and levels of mental health. I want you to know something, that we're so busy reacting in our communities to the drug problems, to the reality of the homelessness and some of our other health ailments, but we've got to be able to get to a point of living in a preventative understanding. What does that look like? What means that we need to understand that beyond the mental health conversation should be a conversation about mental wellness. Mental wellness follows the understanding of having stable social social actions in your community, in your households, in your school, in your workplace, the understanding of your spiritual beliefs and practices, making sure that you have intellectual exchanges and exposures, making sure that you're fostering good emotional care and support, making sure that your physical health is something that you stay on top of, making sure that the environment around you is healthy and able to foster a strong mental wellness and feeling of life. The understanding your financial understanding is stable, and making sure that you have resources to be able to help you through so that you don't fall into depression or despair. Understanding that your occupational choices and access are strong. Guys, I want you to know that the 8 elements of wellness are what we in the mental health field want to help you to understand. When we talk about why you should speak up, it's important that we help you to find your balance so that you yourself don't find yourself in a crisis because of healthcare, work-related housing issues. Guys, it's real, you're human, and beyond mental health diagnosis, there's a healthy posture that we should all be striving to maintain. And that's why we come to do these community shows. So without any further ado, I should say, I want to introduce to you again, Ms. Kate Sugarman with Unity Healthcare, and she's going to give us an update about what is going on with Unity, because many of our citizens in the jail that are homeless and otherwise in low-income areas are experiencing some challenges due to the Unity Healthcare crisis. We were happy to have Mr. Jimmy Tracy, who spoke on behalf of the Unity Healthcare situation at yesterday's rally. In addition to that, they are represented by the Union of American Physicians and Dentists, Ms. Kate Sugarman. Welcome back to the Palms Up platform. Thank you for being patient to speak. Palms up to you, Queen.
Okay, palms up, and thank you for hosting me. Yesterday was so inspirational, and I felt so fortunate that I could attend. And as you may or may not know, because of management's mistreatment of its medical providers, doctors, nurse practitioners, therapists, about 33 of my coworkers have now quit. So there are many, I'd say most Unity patients now who do not have a primary care doctor or medical provider. So when patients try to call and get an appointment now, if they're lucky, they get an appointment many months out, and it will very likely be a doctor or a medical provider who does not know them, because so many of the long-term providers have quit due to management mistreatment. Management is fighting us hard. We won our union vote. We do not yet have a contract, and they replaced one expensive law firm with an even more expensive law firm. So, they are fighting hard. They're going for blood, and we are fighting back. And our main support is in you, our community. And yesterday I had some great conversations with community members who go to Unity for their healthcare, and we really want to take our cries to the DC government. We're working on many strategies, but within the next few weeks, we really want to take our cries to the DC government. And I would be happy happy to bring, go out, me and my union members, we will try, can't promise, we will try to go to like different tenant associations, senior citizen buildings, things like that, bring petitions, have people sign, and then, really bombard the city council, the mayor, Mr. Wayne Turnage from Department of Finance, and the council members that, they work for us and they need to make sure that Unity is doing its job. Unity, they think they can just not provide the health care to our incarcerated brothers and sisters, to our homeless brothers and sisters, to our community members. They have the obligation to provide this care and they cannot walk away from it. And we're going to make sure that patients come first. So I will put my email and phone number in the chat. Dr. Hamilton has my information. I'll make sure she has it again, but we'd love to go to senior buildings, tenant associations. Ms. B, do you have a question? We met yesterday,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
Yes.
I want I want your telephone number, and I got a list of people's phone numbers I want here. So Dr. Hamilton, you're gonna have to put out a list because some of these people I need to call, and I definitely want her at my tenant association meeting. Okay, back to y'all. No, I had that chat.
Ms. B, do you have my text? I sent you a text
Yeah.
yesterday. Do you have it?
We talk about that off air, ladies. There's so many
Great.
wonderful people waiting to speak.
Okay, great.
Appreciate you coming back to the Palms Up platform, Kate, and keeping us updated. It is so necessary. Guys, many of our Unity patients still don't realize why they haven't gotten a response from their doctors. It's because they're headed to a strike if they can't get the conditions met. And many of the doctors, as you heard Kate mention, that have already left might be one of your doctors. So Kate, yes, we would love your information. Please keep us posted. It is important that we keep coming together as a community to fight for these very important issues. And thank you so very much for all of your motivation. And we stand with you all.
Okay, and
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna hop off now, but we'll stay in touch and thank you all. And yesterday was beautiful, so thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thumbs up, thank you.
Phyllis
Okay.
Carr, palms up, Kate. Miss Phyllis Carr, unmute and tell us about what yesterday meant for you and the road forward in your mind, or any other message you'd like for us to hear from you. Welcome, Queen. Palms up to you.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get some dinner in. Yesterday was beautiful and sad at the same time. I'm sorry we're still marching on these same issues. But I'm encouraged from what I saw. It's good to see so many people out marching. I'm hoping that it's just going to continue to build momentum and get bigger and bigger. I really enjoyed the speakers and the protests, the march down to the stadium. But what I didn't hear that I enjoyed was the music that had and that was powerful in itself. The singers that sang, it was like the old hymns or spirituals that used to be sang. So just a powerful, beautiful message in the music even. Again, I'm just really lost for words just from what I hear. So I'm just trying to come in and get acclimated in the group and understand what all the issues are and really just be a support too. I have family here in DC. I'm a native Washingtonian. I have property in Ward 8, so I definitely understand that fight, and I'm just want to be a part of it and do what I can to help. So again, I appreciate what's going on, and I just want to encourage more people to come out and help.
Yes, thank you so much, Queen. Palms up to you. Absolutely, the music yesterday was so befitting. Palms up to Kate, who actually introduced the labor corps, the DC labor corps at the 11th hour, and we had to make room for them because every historic movement has music to remind you of our plight. So thank you, Ms. Carr, and palms up to you. Hey, Mr. Christopher Williams, will you unmute and help us understand what yesterday represented for you and what it meant, and any other message you'd like to bring forward? Palms up, soldier.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all the wonderful speakers yesterday. Our march to the stadium, all just so wonderful, and I echo all the speakers who really want to do more of it, build the momentum, because that's how we get the change. As a consequence of yesterday, I suspect I'm the president of my tenant association in Southwest, Capitol Park Plaza in Twins, and we've been experiencing a number of issues around declining housing quality, and we've been trying to reach Robert White's office, and it just so happened I got an email from them today after a couple of weeks. And so, this is important that we come together, that we stay together, that we talk about these issues, and that we speak for tens of thousands of residents in this city who are being left behind. Part of what I really wanted to emphasize yesterday in my remarks was the role of big money in this city, and how the government, our elected officials, have turned our city over to big money in terms of how our communities are planned, leaving us out in terms of the businesses that are attracted to the district that pay low wages, and our education system. But it's not just that. We know that we need a better government that works for the people. And I really appreciate all the energy and all the issues that were put on the table yesterday, affecting so many different populations, but particularly Black populations, low-income populations, senior populations. And our city needs to take these issues much more seriously than it has in the last 20 years. And as a researcher, public health researcher, a PhD, I see this really from a policy level as well, is that one, we need to change our research and our science, which I'm working on. But also we need to bring that science to communities, to be able to measure harm, and to be able to say, as a community, here are strategies that can affect change. And so I've been very fortunate to work alongside my community here in Southwest on environmental issues, and we appeal these permits that are causing environmental racism down near Buzzard Point. We are actively involved in policy. And so I say all that to say that I really cannot wait to see how this movement, and I think it's not an understatement to say historic movement, because DC has needed this kind of energy from the bottom, from those who are in the trenches, working with vulnerable communities, part of vulnerable communities ourselves, to be able to galvanize and to bring that collective power together to demand change permanently, so that all the facets of our lives and those of our neighbors and friends can be improved. So thank you very much for yesterday's opportunity, and to have some reflections today.
Absolutely. And Chris, thank you so very much since you've been at the table since our public town hall around these matters over in Southwest, and we appreciate that. We came to the ground to try to bring communities together, because we know the importance of standing together. As Chris mentioned, there is an undertone here, and we're being left behind. There's an economic divide that's been allowed to grow too great, that your matters don't necessarily matter unless you make it known. And so, Chris, I thank you for being at the table as a researcher, as an advanced educator, as someone who gets it, because a lot of times they think we're just making a bunch of noise, but we have to harness that noise into the proper legislative understandings so that they understand that we are paying attention. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the next steps forward in just a moment. I just want to make sure to get everybody's voice, and then we're going to wrap this up really nicely, because I'm very excited to hear you all say that you're motivated for the next demonstration, because if I have anything to do about it, we're going to set this city on fire to let them know that it's not okay to respond 2 weeks and 2 months later and 2 years later, when we've been talking about these issues with you forever. So we've got to make sure that our strategy stays strong. So palms up, and thank you, Chris. Miss Sheila Jackson, I don't believe we've heard from you. If you'll unmute for us, Queen, and help us understand your comments on the Palms Up show this evening. Were you with us yesterday? And if so, tell us what your experience was. If not, give us a wonderful message. Welcome to the Palms Up show. Palms up to you.
Yes. Greetings, everyone. Yes, I was
Greetings.
there yesterday. I
Awesome.
am Sheila Jackson Morris, actually. I just never changed my name on my page here. But yes, I was
Okay, well,
there
palms up to you.
yesterday. Yes, and I was a little disappointed. I'm at Wingate. I was a little disappointed in the people that said they were going and actually ended up just being myself and one other person. But I'm all right with that too, because as one of the sisters said earlier, those that were supposed to be there were there, you know. So those that didn't wanted reports. People were texting, asking, "What's going on now? What's going on now?" You're not here. So you don't know, you don't want to know because you're not here.
Palms up.
You know, so I was honored and privileged, and it was my pleasure to be a part of this historic demonstration that was held on yesterday. And I'm just grateful that the people that did come together came together, you know, that they decided that this was more important than going to a barbecue or hanging out in a park or whatever they may have been doing yesterday instead of being where they were yesterday. So I'm encouraged still, and I'm hoping that this will become an event annually, if not more than annually, but you put it together well. I appreciate the effort that was put into this. It was managed very well. It went smoothly. And one of the people that I really enjoyed hearing was the professor from Bowie State University, because he dropped some knowledge that I didn't know myself, you know, and I appreciated. And I was a little disappointed because we didn't have more time to listen to him, but he really dropped some knowledge yesterday. Everyone that was there, I was grateful to hear the people and the plights that everyone is going through throughout this DC area, and particularly Ward 7 and Ward 8, that just sometimes is really overlooked, you know, as if we don't matter, but we do, and we're showing them, and I hope we continue to keep this unity, keep this fire going, so that they will know this is not a joke. This is real. Amen. Thank you all for being there yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Jackson, for showing up for your community over there at Wingate. We've got some wonderful folks over there that are working really hard to get our people up and out. Guys, it's important that we realize out there that there is no such thing as a victim. We can all do something. And when you see folks coming together, you join with them. So, Miss Jackson, thank you for standing in the gap over there. Palms up, we stand with you, and we will always always reach out to include our Wingate family. We're all family, and it's important that we show up. So thank you, and palms up. Michael is one of the
palms up. Thank you.
Michael McGee is one of the palms up leaders. Palms up leaders. He's one of the Healthy DC and Me Leadership Coalition leaders, and he's very helpful with us in our trauma research and helping us to understand this through the eyes of the professor and the research understanding. So we're excited to have so many academic minds at the table. So thank you, Queens, for holding the fort. I got 202-702-7248. Would you like to speak? Would you like to unmute and help us understand? Were you with us yesterday?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Welcome to the Palms Up Show.
Yeah, this is Jim Curley from Capitol Gateway. I was there yesterday, and I was glad I could show up, because it's the old saying is anybody can talk up something, but you got to show up something.
That's right.
I just want to show my support to let the ones know that I'm here to help, not just to talk.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, Jim. I'm so glad you got up and made the effort. I tell you, how about that Perry Red shutting down the traffic, outbound traffic, leaving across from National Stadium? How about that? Jim?
Yes.
I was saying, how about Mr. Perry shutting down that traffic yesterday over there at National Stadium?
Yeah, that was that. Yeah. That was a good move. That was.
Yeah, I think
mean,
that's the
they only listen when it happens economically. Other than that,
Absolutely.
when you start hitting stuff economically, then they start listening.
Absolutely. I was so proud of you all. I didn't know what to do. And for him to put that piece of resistance on it felt pretty important, being escorted down Pennsylvania Avenue with all those police cars, huh?
Yeah, that's when you start messing with them pocketbooks, then they start listening.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to mess with those pocketbooks. Thanks, Mr. Curley. Hey, Thomas and Monique,
You're
I'm going to pull
welcome.
you guys in just a minute. Palms up to you. Hey, guys, it's your girl. And I want you to know that the Am I Mother's Keeper organization that I spearhead, as well as the Healthy DCME Leadership Coalition, we came out to make certain that we could help families on the ground that were struggling, help them to find their stable, help them to find their healthy, and the reality of fighting a government and systems that are continuously keeping barriers in front of you sometimes can be overwhelming for many. There's some people that say there's nothing wrong. Well, it's nothing wrong until it finds you and you're living in your household, and then you realize that you
Hello. That's
so
it.
guys, I
That's
want
it.
you to understand that at the Palms Up show, we are on the ground, boots on the ground, finger on the pulse, because we want to hold this system accountable. There's something called a CEASE Act. A CEASE Act. And that CEASE Act is the legislative framework that all the members of the council, as well as the mayor, as well as the Office of Attorney General, has received. The CEASE Act is legislative framework that will be framed around civil, equity, ancestral, safe, environmental issues. It is important that we help them to understand that there is a cycle, a generational cycle that must be broken in the nation's capital to keep folks from living in situations and circumstances that would have their economics lesser than their white counterparts. We've got to talk about these things. We got to have these uncomfortable conversations with our governmental officials for the advancement of our race and for taxpayers across this city. There are conversations that have to happen. I heard Ms. Briscoe say that they sliding stuff in, and before you realize that they done something right before you. But if they sliding something in, you better believe they sliding something out. And it's either our money or our people, and we got to come forward. When I say our people, I mean all of us, DC. We have less than 26% voting. In 2022, I came to the forefront with members like Mr. Thomas Carpenter and Ms. Monique Michelle Smith, who's members of our coalition. We needed to do something. We're getting these calls. We're seeing this suffrage, and we realized that the leadership was not being accountable. So I came into the race. I came into the mayoral race in 2022 on the second half, because most people don't know that there are two elections in DC. It's the primary and it's the general. And I want you to know something. Not even 3 months before we had to vote in the second election, I showed up on a debate stage, DC Women in Politics. You can go and pull it up. You can go to Rhonda Hamilton, 4dc.com, and you can look it up as well. We came out to deliver the community's message, to serve this mayor notice, to let her and members of the DC Council understand we would no longer be willing to stand by the wayside and watch our citizens perish. Watch something as important as the lack of education, lack of resources, and the lack of transparent oversight to make sure that companies were not receiving monies but not taking care of our people. They're talking about the fact that we have a public safety problem, but then we hear that the cameras aren't working. We hear that when that precious baby was lost, that 911 wasn't picking up the phone. And see, we got a lot of wonderful DC workers, even over at DCHA, over at housing. Their director says they got 3 policing agencies on their doorstep: FBI, the OAG, which is Office of Attorney General, and the Office of Inspector General for HUD. See, when you have wrongdoing going in your politics, you need to be audited. You need to be audited so that the people can get some answers. And one of the reasons why they ignore you when you're reaching out to them is because, one, they don't feel like you are voting, don't feel like your issues matter enough to keep them from being elected. And thirdly, they don't want to have to answer to you. So yesterday was very important. We've served them notification that over the course of the next 30 days, we intend to meet with them. Leaders of the Healthy DCME Leadership Coalition and our supporters are going to show up downtown in those offices to help them understand what's necessary. We have started this framework conversation around the housing issues that have low standards and are unjust. We've presented them with something called the HEART Act. Again, if you're interested in understanding anything I'm speaking on, you may go to www.healthydcandme.org and click on the Woodbury Project, and you'll learn all about our housing advocacy and what we've been doing over the course of the last 3 to 4 years to try to bring them to the understanding that they're impacting in a negative way the mental health and mental diminishment of so many DC citizens just by not offering stable housing understandings and resources, and by allowing slumlords to come in and charge market rate rent for piss poor properties. So I am Dr. Rhonda Hamilton. It was important that our advocacy and work on the ground with mental health and mental health outreach continue, but it needed to continue in a way that we could elevate your stories. And so I'm so thankful for a wonderful team who I'm going to ask to unmute and talk to you a little bit in the space of the road forward, their vision and support for my candidacy, because I will be hitting the ground. I think, Ms. B, you are running for ANC. It's important that our leaders are acknowledged. I want you all to understand that we don't have to stay in this place. And I'm not asking you for anything but an open heart and an open mind, because I know that you're familiar with these issues that we're fighting about. We cannot be afraid or manipulated into staying in situations that don't serve us, and more importantly, that impede the future of our children. I am a native of DC, and on that ground, in those households where my children were suffering, where the holes were in the wall because they didn't know what to do. You ever know what you do when you just at your wits end and you have no one to talk to, and the world just seems like there is just you? There are so many folks living in silence in DC, and I want to stop that. And so I'm going to take my time and go on this ground over the next 6 months, walk in every community from Northwest, Northeast, Southeast, Southwest. I'm coming to shake your hand. I'm coming to knock on your doors. I'm coming to hear your stories, because I realize that many of us have not found our voices or found our strength. And that's why it was important that we did something to show you all, to show you the power of what it looks like when my DC comes together. I'm a proud recipient of the Mayor Berry First Summer Youth Program jobs. And I'm also a proud resident for life of Ward 8. Do I live there now? Ward 6 is where I live. But if we can have a mayor for life, we can have a Ward 8 for life. My family, my friends, my soul comes out of Ward 8. And before I keep watching this nonsense go on, before I keep having people come before you and sell you false hope, I will put my street cred on the line to come forward and let you know that it's time for the daughters of this city to stand up, time for the soldiers of this city to stand up. And if we got to lay down in the middle of the thoroughfare and stop their commerce to get their attention, then that's exactly what we're going to do. So it is my honor and my pleasure to continue to do this work, but we're elevating because there's legislation that needs to come forward that balances out this. There's legislation that has to come forward to make sure our children graduate with trades and skill sets. There's legislation that has to come forward to audit this government, to help you understand why we can't get rid of open-air drug markets, and people sleeping on the street longer than they have to. Homelessness is supposed to be temporary. But see, we don't get to talk about the things we need to talk about because for far too long they've been controlling the narrative. I'm coming to your community. If you got some issues, if somebody came before me that looked like me and promised you something and didn't come through, then you let me know about it. I can't answer for why they didn't do what they supposed to do, but I'm not afraid to have that conversation with you. My dear mother walked this city for the better part of 3 decades with visible voices and hallucinations, and we didn't understand what that meant. We didn't know fancy words, right? And so what we got to understand is that we are a fractured and broken community, but that does not mean that we can't come together and do great things. And I do not intend to do this by myself. And with that said, Carlinia Springer, will you unmute? You're double hitting tonight, my queen. I want you to talk about yesterday's event and what it meant for you. And I also want you to talk about being on the ground with the Rhonda Hamilton for DC campaign with the intentions of running for mayor in 2026. Welcome to the Palms Up platform, Queen. Palms up to you.
Thank you, Queen, and good evening to everyone. Yesterday, everybody has said everything that everyone has expressed with regards to it being a historic gathering and a movement is so real, so deeply real. And I want to say to the Queen Mother that said she looked at the news, and we know at least three TV stations were there, I believe, and only Channel 9 showed it. I want you to know that that was deliberate. It means that we had an impact, because after you, Queen, after you left with Perry Red, I was still there. We were actually waiting for you to come back. Didn't realize you had left. And then these two people came up, and I think they were from something called DC Now or DC News. And I'm not sure what station. And they said they apologized for being late, and they asked for an interview. So Dr. Kenneth Clark, he spoke to them, and we were there holding the signs. But what was interesting was that I thought all the police had left, but there was one police car that had was parked up on the park area right across from where we were. And this white man that was dressed in regular clothes came up on a scooter. And I looked at him because the only reason you're there is to cross the street. And he kept zipping and unzipping his bag. He had a phone and what looked like an iPad. And after a few minutes, I'm like, this guy's an undercover cop. He's recording us and he's listening to our conversations. We were there for at least half an hour, 45 minutes after you walked away. And he was still there after we left, and we walked a little distance. So I don't know if he was communicating with the cop in the car or somebody else. But saying all that to say, don't be fooled by what appears to be a lack of response, because we have already made an impact. And I believe that we need to come up with very creative ways that that we can continue to disrupt. And someone said, unless you disrupt their economics, they're not paying attention. They purposely, and I don't know if you all know who Dr. Claude Anderson is, but I was hearing an interview with him this evening, and he wrote the book Powernomics, but he also wrote the book Black Labor, White Wealth. And he said there is not one politician at the local, state, or federal level that has stood for Black people and Black people alone to make sure that they are protected. Doesn't mean they don't do the other work, but every other class of people they have done things for. But for our people, from DC to every city across this nation, nothing has been done. And he predicted over 20 years ago that we would become what he considered to be a permanent underclass, and we would be fourth behind with the whites, the Asians, and the Hispanics. And yet in Powernomics, he wrote out a plan for us to be able to come together, like how you have us come together here and create wealth within our families and within our communities. So we need to educate ourselves, because like that young brother said, if we want change, the change has to start with us. So we can't keep expecting people to give us and do for us things that we're not willing to do for ourselves. I was so touched to see the elders and the young people, to see us all come together. I'm like, every time we gather, the elders need to be in the house and the young people need to be in the house. I heard you say, someone said we need to come with the babies, the strollers. It's a fight. We all need to be in it. When we were, after the news people left, after you left, an older gentleman came up to us and he asked us what we were doing. And he said, can I be honest with you all? He said, you have to fight. And in a fight, you may not want to hear it, but some may die. But that's what you have to be willing to fight. And I agree. If you're not willing to die, I mean, you're not looking to die. But if you're not willing to die, because so many died, so many shed their blood. Our kids are dying every day, but for what? If they're going to die for something, then they ought to die for something like this. If they come to this earth for a short period of time and they're going to die, don't be just flinging your lives away, wasting your lives, but stand for something. And the only way they will know what to stand for is when the elders tell their stories, tell us what they know that we haven't known, and we tell the children. So what I see that you've done is you're bringing the family back together. And when the family is together, nothing can withstand that, because God is in the center of that, and no weapon formed against us will prosper. They don't know it and they haven't seen it. But you're going to see when that gentleman said he got a call from Robert White, these people are very nervous. One of the things Dr. Anderson said, he's like, if you're a Democrat or a Republican and you're a Black person, you need to pull your, need to release that affiliation and said, show me what you're going to do. Because if I voted for you and you did not do anything for Black people in my community, you no longer get my vote. And you need to do that immediately. So when it comes to your campaign, I know you personally, and we've seen the work and we've seen the evidence of the work. So it's 100% support on this side. And, we're building community in a way that I don't really see, and it may just be that I don't know who's doing that work. I don't really see people who have the capacity to help the housing and help the ones who've lost their jobs and the medical and all that. So when I called you an empress, because you're literally handling empires that we're rebuilding, I meant that. And so what you've done is created a platform so massive that everyone can find their place within it and start right where they are and build that community. So as kings and queens, and I'm ending, as kings and queens, like King Dr. Newsom would say, he's like, the first kingdom you have is your home. Yeah. So run that. And then your community, and begin to collaborate and to spread out and embrace the children, embrace the young people, embrace each other, begin to ask each other, is there anything that you need? What can I do to help? Right. And I just, this is a wave that will not be stopped. And
that's right.
Will not be. And I believe that people should be showing up on Mayor Bowser's doorstep. People should be showing up on when these people are leaving work. Maybe you just walking around, but when they get ready to leave, you turn around,
just show up, right?
Or you put cease and desist now, because the oversight, the audit should be done by the Citizen Community Council of Healthy DC and me. We perform
That's
the
right.
I can't trust them to perform the audits.
That's right. That's right. And that's why we go to the table to set the standards. Thank you so very much. And palms up to you, Queen. You mean so much to the work that we do. Carlenio sits on the board for our first organization, In My Mother's Keeper, and has done so for quite a few years now. Does wonderful work in the community in the space of helping folks in that mental wellness understanding. So thank you so very much, Queen, for all that you do. Mr. Thomas Carpenter, will you unmute? You've been so patient. Mr. Carpenter served as the treasurer for the Rhonda Hamilton campaign, and he's usually in the background. He's also served as a board member for Healthy DCME Leadership Coalition. There's a trust that exists between the work that we go out to do on the ground and the reality of having to make sure that our ducks are in a row so that we can elevate in order that we can bring the families and the communities with us. But I want you guys to know, I want to let you in behind the curtain a little bit, because you often see me as an advocate and as an activist in the community on the ground. But it is time to transition now so that we can continue to fight for this CEASE Act legislation, the HEART Act legislation. We still have to talk about the educational understandings in our town. There's so much still to be done, and there's so many of you that are still not at the table. And so I take responsibility for bringing you back. Did you know that in DC, we have approximately 500,000 people registered to vote, and we don't have 200,000 consistently voting, and that's a problem. That's a problem when you're living in a community looking for change. Mr. Carpenter, will you unmute and just speak on, the road thus far, what it means to know that we're revving up to come back for a 2026 run, and anything else you'd like to share. Mr. Carpenter also spearheads an organization that helps young Black males transition into advanced education and other understandings to make sure that we can save more of our young Black men. The name of his organization is Tomorrow's Black Men, and he belongs to the Healthy DCME Leadership Coalition, and we're happy to have him. But more importantly, this is the treasurer for the Rhonda Hamilton campaign. Mr. Thomas Carpenter, will you unmute and share a few words for the kind folks?
Hello, everyone, and once again, Rhonda, I want to commend you and your organization's efforts out there on the streets. It's we have met many conversations in the past, and even through my organization, we have experienced some of the trauma with some of our mentees being caught up in some of the violence in DC, and bringing mental health to the forefront, and the things that actually contribute to that is the overall environment. When the environment is broken, and that definitely contributes. There's a domino effect, and watching our youth getting caught up in the in the neglect and some of the basic services in the Washington D.C. area, it is shameful, and it's been going on for quite a while. And I want to commend everybody on the call here for their efforts and getting out there and rallying the troops and bringing attention to this. So definitely want to commend everybody on that. But going forward, very excited about getting involved in the political arena for the second time around. Last time we kind of threw a little campaign together, but the campaign kind of pushed some buttons a little bit, and I think they was a little taken aback of how effective and how much of a spotlight got put on some very articulate arguments, and kind of at the very least made the establishment very, very concerned about there's something out there that's brewing. So very excited about making sure we have a longer ramp this time around to make sure we can learn from the lessons from last year and leverage that knowledge. And I think the conversation is going to get a little bit more serious, and a lot more noise is going to be made the second time around. So we're very excited about that there. But once again, I want to commend everybody for their efforts out there on the streets. It's definitely needed.
Amen, amen. Palms up to you, and thank you, soldier. I'm going to build on that excitement. Miss Monique Michelle Smith, who will serve on the campaign management team, many of you will see her out in the forefront, and hails from Washington, D.C., is a native up in Northwest, been working with the D.C. Fire and EMT. It's closer to 30 years now, and I would imagine, has a beautiful daughter, a student up in college. I mean, this is a mother who's got a lot going on, but loves her city and is stepping to the forefront for the Rhonda Hamilton for DC campaign. So Monique, will you unmute and talk a little bit about the work we've been doing together? Monique also sits on the board for And My Mother's Keeper. So it was important for me to bring people along on my journey that knew me and knew my heart for doing the work, because we know that there's a divide out there that has to be healed and real recognize real. Welcome to the Palms Up platform, Queen. It's lovely to have you and see you again.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just embracing all of your testimonies this evening. And I wanted to say, job well done. I saw it on Facebook yesterday. That's what I like to see. Stand strong and march tall. You know, you have to take it back to the old days. And a lot of times people don't want to see Black people out on the street marching for what they need, because they already know we're not going to give up. We're going to keep marching forward. The one thing couple of things I want to bring forward is that, you know, we have a lot of things that are going on around the city with the violence, housing, and also with the jobs that's needed in Washington, D.C., also with mental health. With My Mother's Keeper, with that organization, you know, we have worked with the youth, we have worked with parents, and then we also worked with a lot of senior citizens. We worked with, along with Queen Carlinia, with the royal family. We helped out people over there, 425 2nd Street, with their situations. So we've been working pretty hard for the past 5 years now. And we've answered a lot of questions and been advocates for all these people. So I can say that you can believe what we're saying, that we are marching and hearing everybody's calls. I would say that we always have to look for what is the next thing that's coming into the city. I look at Walmart. In their first year, they made $90 million just in revenue. And what needs to happen is we need to ask these organizations that come into the city, they need to give something back. If you can go to these different areas and go to certain wards and make that kind of money in your first year of retail, we're not asking for enough money for our community. And that's what you have to look at. If you look at the tickets in Washington, D.C., $100 million just in tickets. Where's this money coming from? It's coming from us. And we need to ask for this money back. So we shouldn't have to listen to, oh, it's not no money, or it's not. Don't say that. Don't believe it. You have to demand it. And that's what we need to do. You know, I'm out of town right now. I'm in Florida, and I was on the plane talking to this lady, and she tells me, oh, well, I live in Florida and the rent here is high. It's $1,000. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, in DC, the rent here is $2,800. She was like, what? I said, yeah. So, yeah, the rent is out of control, you know. And a lot of things is that their rates are reduced because of their businesses that they have down here. But she still, you know, has some gripes about the rent. We need to also ask for these giants who coming into town, getting their money from us. You need to give something back, at least half. Am I wrong? At least half of the money, $90 million. It needs to come back into the community and come back. And trust me, they listen to this. The city council members, they are videotaping it, they're watching it, and they're listening. They're saying, oh, we still haven't answered these problems with the community on the rent and on the money. If you want to go up on rent, and if you receive subsidies, then you need to ask for at least $10,000 a month. I'm not being funny, I'm being real because they have the money. You want to go up on my rent? I need some money back. We have not asked for our reparations. They have it. If they can send it overseas, $860 billion, they got it. And they make the money here in Washington, D.C. Why not? That's all I'm going to say. It's
Queen,
been
you
nice.
said a lot. I tell you, thank you, thank you. Palms up to you. As you can see, we got a lot to unpack. As I said, Monique is serving on the campaign management team, so she's going to be out there mixing it up in the forefront and having more conversations and taking down suggestions and not guaranteeing anything until we understand a platform around it. But she is going to definitely be bringing forward thought-provoking conversations so that we can become educated as a people, so that we end up with more movements like this. One of the things that concerned me coming forward was the reality of losing all these wonderful, precious relationships that have helped me to bring these messages to the forefront. But guys, if we're going to win, if we're going to truly win, we have to be everywhere. We have to be everywhere, and we all go forward together. Palms up to you guys. We are about 5 minutes from wrapping up. I am Dr. Rhonda L. Hamilton. We're going to be hitting the ground for the next 6 months because I want to plaster this city with our presence and with our requests so that we can get more people speaking, engaged, and voting. And it's going to take many of the folks on this call to lock your communities down. Miss Juanita Briscoe locking down 8 and making sure that we have our young people included and involved. I'm coming out to meet, listen, and connect so that we can understand a pathway forward for us all. I want to leave you guys with a few mental health facts. You couldn't come to the mental health platform and not leave with a few facts in hopes that it will help you as you carry forward in helping one another and standing together. Guys, I want you to know that suicide is the second leading cause of death for people's ages 10 to 34. What does that mean? We have to keep reaching out. We have to keep connecting with them. And from the generational divide, it's important not to always be right. Sometimes you have to be willing to listen if it means that we're going to spare a life. Guys, I want you to know that 70% of our youth in the juvenile system has mental health illness realities. I want you guys to know that 1 in 5 Americans live with mental illness. So the next time you're in a room, count 5 and figure that 1 of those 5 is going through something. It's time that we get more sensitive about understanding the types of things that could cause folks to feel depressed and feel alone. We as a community have to do better. And as the common theme continues to be, we want change. But the fundamental question is, are we willing to change within? Are we willing to be that change? I want you also to know that 50% of all lifetime mental illness begins by the age 14. 75% begins by the age 24. If we're going to understand our youth, let's start understanding something called ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. Children growing up in poverty around sirens, understanding that they're hungry and not feeling loved or stable living are impacted. And sometimes it doesn't leave them even in their adult lives. Harvard did a study and it understood that trauma for many starts in their mother's belly. And when you talk about a city where women are not able to give birth on one side of the city, guys, it's time to realize the conditions that we've allowed ourselves and our children, our families to adapt to. Just because you're making it is not okay. And it's time that we stand up and stand together. So when you see Rhonda Hamilton's name, and there's another Rhonda Hamilton in this city, so let me be clear, I am Dr. Rhonda L. Hamilton. There's another beautiful Rhonda Hamilton in the southwest area of the city. And she's come before me and done some great things. But it's important that we start understanding who one another is. I am Dr. Rhonda L. Hamilton. I will be running in the 2026 mayoral race, just as I did in the 2022 race. I want you to understand something. I'm coming on the ground for the next 6 months because I don't want to do this by myself. And as indicated here tonight, And as indicated from the work that we continue to do, it is necessary that we do this together. So if you're in Ward 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 8, I want to hear from you. I'm going to hit that ground and hit every community. And if you are a community leader and you got folks in your community that don't want to vote, that feel left out, we want to hear from you. Tonight, we form a union that says no more low standards. We can't expect our youth to do any better. We can't expect our seniors to show up if we don't show them that we care. Until we show them that we care, they don't care to know. The mother that's struggling, the homeless individual that needs respect, it's about dignity. I'm running to bring the pride back in the city that nurtured and raised me. So let's go, DC. Let's go. Palms Up will go on hiatus after next week, and I will be on that ground. And I'm depending on my community leaders to keep going, keep communicating. We're stepping all over their neck with this cease legislation. And I'm running to go pull it through on the other side. Our issues matter, and we will see the results that we need to see. So let's go, DC. Does anybody have any final messages before we wrap up? Palms up. Please unmute and say so. Carlenia?
Yeah, I just.
Oh, come on, Juanita, and then Carlenia. Go ahead, Juanita.
Yeah, I just want to say that I am definitely behind you 100%. And I just want to acknowledge a young man because he killed himself in Washington, D.C., Khalil Starter. And I just want everyone to pray for his mother, who is going through a lot behind that, and his father, and the rest of his family, his brothers that he left behind. So we must fight.
Yes, yes, and amen, and God bless
and
Khalil's
pray.
family. Yes, always pray. Thank you, Juanita. Juanita will be stomping on the ground in 8, as I said. So those of you that want to get involved and be a part of something bigger than yourself, those of you that want to see real change in the city that you love, then you get in touch with us. 240-274-9436 and www.rhonda, R-H-O-N-D-A, Hamilton, the number 4, DC.com. You will start to see members of my team hit the street. I'm the same Dr. Rhonda, and my team will represent that understanding as well. We're elevating because we have business to take care of for our city. Ms. Queen Carlenia?
Oh, I was just saying palms up. I was crazy.
Okay, no problem. Palms up. Anyone else, B? Come on, B. You got something you want to say?
This morning, I know God is in the midst. I ran into the young lady who spoke about homelessness at McDonald's, right there at McDonald's, and she had a daughter with her. And I was able to pass my numbers, and so we're connecting. And I want to say to the lady in the pink dress who was
Juanita.
I'm right here in Ward 7 too, and I want to connect with some of these people to really stay in touch. And Miss Nash, I forget your name, Miss Nash. I'm just down the street from you. We owned by E&G. We got to you got to come a part of ETAP because all of us are owned and managed by them. And we got to make sure that they know all of us are sticking together that E&G run. Or
absolutely. I'll make sure there's someone on my team. I'm gonna make sure there's someone on my team. All of you will get a call, and we'll make sure everybody's in touch with one another, because we're not finished. We're just getting started, and we do this together. We do this together. All right.
Can I speak, Rhonda?
Sure. Come on, Yvonne.
All right. I've been with Rhonda for the last 4 or 5 years, and I believe in her, because she has helped us so much. And to the lady who just spoke, Rhonda and I spoke about this, and we're all going to get together because we're all in this fight together. Not just you, but all the communities of E&G. We're not going to live like this anymore. We have something up our sleeves for E&G. Trust and believe me. So I will get in touch with you and let you know what we're doing on Nash Place, because we're tired of it. And we're going to be behind Rhonda. We're going to do what
Yes.
Rhonda asked us to do because Rhonda has been there for Nash Place. I know about Nash Place. I can't tell you about no other part of the city, but I know she's been here for us. So we're going to be behind her because she's been behind us.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Anybody else got anything they want to say before we get off the line? Anybody?
Thank you, Dr. Rhonda Hamilton. This is Patricia Bishop. I work closely with Rhonda Hamilton, the other Rhonda Hamilton. I also work closely with Chris Williams. I am the president here at Greenleaf. Let me give y'all my AKA, Good Trouble. And
hey,
all the way Good Trouble. Palms up.
I love it.
Thank you. And I am here.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey guys, it's your girl. And just like that, come on, Miss Cooper. I didn't think we'd get out of here without hearing something from you. Come on, Queen.
What's our next move? We going to the mayor house?
Look, if she know it was good for her, if she know what's good for her, she'll do something before we get there. What's our next move is that a formal invitation has been sent to each of the members along with a tag out to all of the press to let them know that the council, the mayor, and the Attorney General's office has within 30 days to schedule roundtable meetings that will begin the conversation of the HART legislation and the framework for the CEASE Act. I'm going to invite Mr. Chris Williams to join us in those meetings so that we can help to elevate and get the standard in place, because we still need to address our educational woes. And it is important that we stand strong because of the reality that there's a national election coming our way, and we cannot let it overshadow our local issue. Okay? So palms up. It was important for me to transparently share with you all that we're going to hit that ground because we wouldn't dare stop here. So stay tuned.
Rhonda, you said 30 days. So if you don't hear nothing from them in 30 days, we going to the mayor house.
All right, I heard it here on the Palms Up show.
We need to go to the mayor house.
They not playing. Palms Up. I'm with you. I'm on that ground. See you guys soon. Palms up. Thank you so very much. Yesterday was an enormous success. Get to talking to those community members of yours. Let's start talking to our church leaders. Let's start figuring out where we're going to do our voter registrations at. Let's start figuring out which communities need more support. Let's start a network of conversation so that we can get more people to the forefront. And please don't leave my babies out. I will be emailing everyone to keep you abreast of the communications that we're receiving as we prepare to transition. We do this together. Amen.
Amen.
All right. It's your girl. Palms up, everyone. Thank you for sitting with us for 2 hours.
Palms up.
See you all soon. Bless you.
Bless.
Good night.
Good night.